Hey guys, what is going on? My name is NoJ456 and welcome everybody to the main Easter egg guide that is going to take you through the start to the finish of the Voyage of Despair Easter egg, showing you guys every single little step, every single thing you need to do, and giving you tips and tricks on how to do each one of them quickly and efficiently so that you can complete this Easter egg in your game. That being said, this is a much harder Easter egg to complete than the map 9. If you would like an easier basically place to start with and jump off with, go ahead and check out the description. It's going to have my Easter egg guide to 9. Hop over there, get started with that map, and then once you're done with that one, come over to this one. But that being said, let's go ahead and get started with the tutorial. So the very first step of this Easter egg is to make your way to the very back of the boat, hold square on the Sentinel artifact to unlock the rest of the map, and then build Pack-a-Punch. There's 4 different icons around the map that you must claim. If you need any more help with this, I do have a tutorial up on my channel, but once you've built Pack-a-Punch, you are ready to go on to step number 2. So once you've acquired the Sentinel artifact and turn on Pack-a-Punch, 4 different symbols are going to spawn around the map, and I'm going to show you all 6 locations that they can actually spawn in right now and how to actually decipher these. Now, I do recommend you actually get a pen and paper out for this. It's going to make it much easier to follow along with and make sure you don't mess anything up. So this is the first location down here. So with your pen and paper out, you're going to look behind this wall right here and see if there's a symbol there. If there's no symbol there, you can just go ahead and go to the next location I'm about to show you. But if you do have a symbol there like I do, you're going to go ahead and draw the symbol on that paper. So just draw a little upward facing triangle and then make your way over to the clock that is directly behind us and write down the time next to that symbol. So for this, I would have 10:05 written down on my clock and ready to go. So basically 10:05, that little upwards facing triangle, and I'm going to move on to the next spawn location. So the next possible location is in the dining room. Make your way into the dining room and into the kitchen and put yourself on this back wall next to this kind of gutted up zombie. So turn around and you will possibly see a symbol on your cabinet right here. Once again, if you don't see anything in your game, you can go ahead and skip to the next spawn location. But if you do, go ahead and mimic that symbol, draw a little upside down triangle with a line through it, and then note down the time on this clock. So this one again is going to be 10:05. So it's okay if they're the same clock time, but you need to basically have noted down every single symbol that you've seen and the time that goes along with it. So this is 2 out of the 6 spawn locations. Let's go ahead and take a look at the rest. So the next possible symbol spawn is next to this Zeus tower. You're going to come over here where the mystery box spawn, stand by the mystery box and look left, and on the wall right behind there, as you can see, yet another symbol. We have the upside down triangle this time with no line through it, just the upside down triangle. And basically, if you do have that triangle, you're going to make your way over to this little fireplace and note down the time on the clock. So once again, for this one, it is 9:05. So right now we have 3 different symbols with 3 different times attached to each one of those symbols, and we can move on to the next spawn location. So the next spawn location is at the top of the grand staircase if you go all the way up, and then turn around, and then right next to the Spitfire on the wall above the doorway is a possible spawn for the symbol. Now again, I don't have this one in my game, so I'm going to be going ahead and skipping this, but if you do have it on your game, go ahead, note down the symbol, and then come over here to this clock, note down the time that is on this clock, and you will be good to go on to the next spawn point. Now next up is in the Captain's Bridge. Basically this one is going to be hiding underneath the desk, which of course is the one that I had in my game right here. But if you go ahead, look on the side of this desk, I'm going to draw a right side up triangle with a line through it, and then just come over here right next to the steering wheel for the time. This one is 10:10. So again, hour hand is 10, minute hand is 10. So we're gonna go ahead and do 10:10 right there, and we're gonna move on to the last spawn location. In my game, I would have been finished right now because I have all 4, but just for the sake of showing you guys where the last spawn point would be, this is it. So the last spawn point is down these stairs right here, down the second set of stairs even, and then going ahead and pull a direct 180, and you'll be able to see the symbol kind of hiding behind this little bag on the stairs. Obviously, it is not there in my game, but if it were there, I would note down that symbol once again, and the clock is over here on the wall, and I would note down that clock time. But since I don't have it in my game, I don't worry about it. There's basically going to be 4 symbols that you have at the end of this with 4 separate times, and the other 2 locations will have had nothing. But that being said, that is all you need to do for the clock step, and now you're ready to actually input these numbers into the correct location. So once you have all 4 of your symbols written down with all 4 of your times, you're going to make your way over to the captain's steering wheel, and notice on each one of these little spinners, there's actually a corresponding little symbol that will go to what you actually wrote down. So on each one of these, this symbol corresponds to a certain time. My times on this run were 10:05, 10:05, 9:05, and 10:10. And basically, in this area, all you're going to be inputting is the minute hand. So you're going to completely ignore the first part of your time and just input the minute minute hand. So if you take a look at this one over here, this one was a 10-10. This little symbol means a 10-10. So all I'm gonna do on this one is hold this little minute hand on the right twice. So it's gonna go cha-ching, cha-ching, and that is going to signify 10 minutes. Each time you hold down square, it signifies 5 minutes going by on the minute hand. So if you wanted to do, say, plus 15, say your time was 10:15 or 9:15 or 11:15, whatever your time was, all you would need to do is hold right 3 times and that will actually activate it. But for the rest of these all end in an 05, so all I'm going to do is just hold right just once, and it's going to go over to the right, and it's actually going to input each one of these. So let's actually take a look at what this looks like whenever you do it live. Make your way over to them and then hold square on the correct direction. That was the wrong direction there, but that actually matches up with 10-10, which is 10 minutes on the minute hand. This one I need 5 minutes on the minute hand, so I'm going to hold it on the right hand side once. This one again, same thing, right hand on the minute side once, and then I actually came back later to finish off the last one by doing the same exact thing as the last two, just holding right on the minute hand once. So now that you have input all of the minute hands onto the spawn, you need to make your way around the map to actually input the hour hands onto different ones around the map. So basically at the steering wheel, this one right here is the triangle up with a little dash through it. That is what that correlates to. Even though it is not marked this time, this is the triangle up with the arrow through it. So basically that is that one. And right here on the right side, we have the triangle down with a little dash mark through it. So basically these are the two things that you need to input the hour hands on, and it basically works at the exact same way. This starts at very, very midnight, wherever it is in the very, very middle, that is midnight. And if you hold it left for, say, 1 hour, that is now 11. If you hold it left again, it is now 10. And we're basically going to do this back and forth, and you can change up the time to whatever you want it to be to match up to the time. So once again, these are my times that I have. As you can see, I make my way over, and I actually am going to be changing these times to be the 10 o'clock for both of them, considering both of those times started with 10 in the hour slot. So once again, these are just for hours. The one in the spawn area are just for minutes. So do the hours on this one and do the minutes one and spawn. And now I'm going to show you guys the final 2 locations to do the other 2 so that you can finally finish the step of the Easter egg. So the last 2 places to enter in your hours for these times are down here in the Odin room. Obviously, there are 4 right here. The bottom right one and the top left one are completely busted up, so we're going to be ignoring those. However, this one right here on the bottom left is actually the triangle one, just the normal upward facing triangle one. This is where you're going to enter the hours for your triangle one, which as you remember is just 10:05, and we're going to input that in as a 10 on that number. And the other one is up here on the upper right, and that one right there is just the downward triangle one, and that, if you remember, is just 9:05. So we're going to enter 9:05 into this one, and we're going to enter 10:05 into this one, and basically that is just a 10 on that dial, and that is just a 9 on this dial, and you'll be good to go. And that is that entire step completed. So this is what it looks like when you're solving it. That is going to be your 10:05. This one right here is going to be your 9:05. So that is 3 turns from 12 to 9, and then you are good to go on to the next step of the Easter egg. So after inputting the time correctly, you should have a new Easter egg called Within the Chain of Phases, All is Conceived. If you don't have this Easter egg step, that means one of your times was wrong. Make sure the hours are on the 4 spread out around the map, and make sure all of the minutes are in the area all next to each other. But once this happens, once you have that Easter egg step within the chain of phases, basically there will be 4 outlets around the map that start sparking up, and surprise, surprise, there are 6 spawn locations of said outlets. So the first one is right here in the 3rd class deck. The second one is actually very, very close by, right up here in the corner of the aft decks. As you can see, each one of them has a special elemental zombie. The one down there obviously had that blue elemental zombie, and this one up here has that acid one. Another one is right here next to Zeus at this little outlet down here. This is another one of the 6 spawn locations. Again, you will have 4 of them show up in your game out of the 6 locations, so this is another one. The next possible spot is right next to that symbol at the very, very top of the staircase. This one was actually not sparking in our game, but that is another outlet spot right there that you have to check and make sure you don't have an elemental zombie you have to kill there. The next one is right here next to the raw tower. It is actually hiding behind this corner. This one is a little sneaky, but this one right here is another one that could possibly light up. Obviously, this one was not lit up in our game, but that is another one that you must check for elemental sparkage. The next one is right in here from spawn. You're just going to go into the staterooms, take a left, and then you see right here, this is another possible spawn point of that electricity. This one was obviously activated in our game. And this is what you actually have to do with them. Whenever you get one of these elemental zombies to spawn into your game, just book it over to one of these little electrical things, and you basically need to bait the zombie and kill the zombie right next to this electrical thing. There is a little bit of a glitch in theater mode. You don't actually see the electrical zombie, but basically what happened there is an electrical zombie was killed right next to that outlet, and basically it formed a symbol on the ground. So here's one more look at it just so you guys understand fully. This is an electrical yellow sparking outlet. This is not a fire outlet. It's not a water outlet. It's not an acid outlet. It is an electrical outlet. So I lead an electrical zombie over to this outlet. I kill it very, very close to the outlet. And as you can see, it creates a portal on the ground. Now this portal is going to be used for a future Easter egg step. As you can see, the portal is no longer sparking here. And basically that means you've done it correctly, and you will have to go in another full round before you can get another one of these activated. So for the next few rounds, all you're going to be doing is you're going to be filling up these 4 spark electrical outlets, and make sure you write down on a piece of paper which one is which one was in which location, because you do actually have to use these in a certain order once you are onto the next Easter egg step. And if you use it in the wrong order, you're basically gonna have to start over and do a mini boss fight all over again, which is gonna make sense in a second. But just remember, write down, say, hey, I did poison in this room, I did electricity in that one room, and I did water in this room, and make sure you're doing that. And while you're doing this and while you're burning through rounds like this, make sure you're spinning the box for the Kraken or filling up the soul boxes to actually get the free Kraken Easter egg, because you will actually need a Kraken very, very soon in this Easter egg with an acid upgrade. So go ahead, start upgrading the Kraken. If you don't know how to do that, I do have a tutorial down below in the description as well. But start upgrading the Kraken, get everything ready to go, and start getting ready for the next steps. So once you have killed all 4 of the respective elemental zombies next to their plugs, once again, you will have to remember which plug came from which zombie and which portal basically came from which zombie. There will now be 4 full portals on the ground, each one of you, that will teleport you into a separate boss fight. Now, you have to do these boss fights in a specific order, and this is the order here. You have to start with the acid, and then you have to go to the water, and then you have to go to the lightning, and then you have to go to the fire, and you have to complete these in that order, or else you will basically fail it, and then you will have to run it again and basically kill another. Say if you did the lightning one first, you will have to kill another lightning one and basically reignite that spark, and then do it in the correct order. So always remember the direction that you're supposed to be running and the order of these boss fights that you need to go in, because the boss fights themselves are pretty darn easy if you are set up for them. Again, I recommend you get the Kraken and then you use your specialist. There'll be a couple of Blight Fathers in each one of the first 3, and then the last one you basically have to fight a wave of big shovel boy zombies and exploder zombies. And basically once you complete all of those, you are on to the next step. But again, you don't have to do these all at the same time. You basically can complete one at a time. Just make sure you're doing it in the correct order of acid, water, lightning, and then fire, and make sure you're set up for each one of these, because they can get pretty hectic if you are not set up. But that being said, once you've completed all 4 of these, you are on to the next step, where you are actually going to need the elemental upgraded acid Kraken. So after completing all 4 mini boss fights in order, you should have the physically formed Sentinel artifact back in your inventory, and at this point you do need the Acid Kraken, and to make your way over to the turbine room where the Pack-a-Punch actually spawns. As you can see, on these blue little tubes going around the map that have air spewing out of them, you can actually get kill hit markers, which cause them to actually spray out not only this air puff, but actually water droplets as well. And there's a bunch of them around this room that you actually need to shoot, and I'm showing you all of the locations right here. Just make sure that you shoot every single one that is spewing out water, and make sure you do get that kill hit marker on every single spot, or else it will not work. So just keep looking around the map, keep looking around this room. They are all like kind of located inside this room. You don't need to climb or anything like that. Just pretty much look straight up if you're having any problems. And after you shoot the last one, the entire water level of the entire room will start to rise, and then you will need to go to the next round, in which that the Pack-a-Punch will actually move back to this room if it wasn't there already. If it's there already, you can just go ahead and do it. But as you can see, 1 round later, the Pack-a-Punch actually moves back, and all you need to do is swim up to it, and you can actually Pack-a-Punch the Sentinel artifact. It won't cost any points, don't worry. You can just Pack-a-Punch it for free, but you will Pack-a-Punch the Sentinel artifact, and then you'll be on the next step, which is called something with planets. It's just too long. Just basically, whenever you're on the planet step, just know you're in for a wild ride, and you're about to be shooting planets down out of the sky. So So once you get to the planet step, the first thing you need to do is actually spawn the planets into the map, and I'm gonna show you guys a very quick and easy way to do that by hitting all of the different symbols around the map. So obviously in your game you're gonna be at a much higher rank, but this is the location of all of the symbols. Basically all you have to do is go up to them in the order that I show you guys in this video, and you have to hold square on each of them. The first one is the sun, and that is in the forecastle right off spawn. The second one is here in the mail rooms. Just go up to that little symbol and hold square. You'll hear a little voice and it will summon in Mercury. The next one up is in the Millionaire suite. This one is Venus, so whenever you are on this step in the Easter egg, if you go up and hold square on this, you will hear a little voice and summon in Venus to your map. The next one up is Moon, and that is the Earth's moon. You'll see what I'm talking about in just a second there, but go ahead and hold square on that and you'll be good to go. The next one up is Mars, and that is in the boiler room. So go ahead and head upstairs, find this little portal in the boiler room, and then lay down on this grating, and then just hold square on this thing through the grating, and it should activate very, very easily. No big deal whatsoever. The next one up is Saturn, and that one is on the bridge. This one is a little tricky. You have to go to basically right behind the captain's desk, turn around, and then there's a little 5 there on the dresser. That one is Saturn, so go ahead and grab that. Back in the engine room is Jupiter. This one is right in front of that perk machine. It is a little 4 on the ground, so go ahead again, hold square on that to activate that one. The next one up is Uranus, and this one is actually in the stateroom's bathroom. Real nice Treyarch, real funny, guys. Anyway, that is where Uranus is. Go ahead and hold square on that and it will spawn that in. And finally we have Neptune, and that is in this little thing on the aft stack. Go ahead, hold square on that, and that will spawn in the planet. Now once you have all of the planets spawned in, once you have held square on every single location that I just showed you, you need to make your way down to the bottom of the cargo room, where you will find this little planetary model. So once all of the planets are spawned in the sky by doing this, we need to go ahead and get the order of the planets that we are going to be shooting. And to do this, we need to make our way over to the cargo hold, drain the water from the cargo hold, and now I'm going to teach you how to match up the little baby beacons that we have on this kind of like mobile here to the ones in the sky. And so starting it off, I need to teach you guys the names of the planets. Yes, we're going back to astronomy here. I need to teach you guys the names of the planets in order for you to understand what this order even means. So first up here, this is Venus, this little kind of orangish one. This is Venus, the second planet from the sun, which is of course in the middle. This one right here is Mars, so if you get this one lit up, just know it's Mars. Basically, you're gonna watch this mobile, you're gonna turn this mobile on in your game, and you're gonna write down the order of all of the planets that you have. So far, it's Venus, Mars, and then this one here is Saturn, of course. That one is Saturn. This little baby one right next to the sun here is Mercury. That is a kind of a purplish one. This one right here is of course Jupiter. That is the biggest one. Even in the sky, you're gonna see outside, it's almost even bigger than the sun. This one way out here is Uranus. It is a purple one, and that is very important. Remember that Uranus is the purple one, and you need to write down Uranus for the purple one. This one right here, this kind of white looking one, is actually the moon. It is the moon of Earth, so go ahead and write that one down if you have it in that order. And this last one here is Neptune. Now the Neptune one is always blue, and that's very important. And the last but not least, the sun here. So playing it back in normal motion, this is basically my order for the game, and that is going to be my order for the entire game. If I fail, it's fine. I'm still gonna have the same order, and basically this step is going to have this order until I complete it, which is going to be hopefully very soon. And I'll teach you guys how actually to complete this. But first, I have to show you guys what these planets actually look like in the sky, so you can match up what they look like on the mobile to what they look like in the sky. So now once you have hit every single one of those, it is time for an astronomy lesson so you can understand the callouts that I'm making whenever I teach you guys how to do this next part. Basically, the big one right in the center of your screen, that is the sun. Okay, that is the sun. The thing that is closest to the sun orbiting around it is Mercury. That is the kind of like pinkish one that is very small, closest to the sun right now. Now the one that is just right next to Mercury right now, that is Venus. That is the basically kind of like orangish color one. And the one kind of way out there, that is Mars. Okay, so those are kind of the three inner planets, and then of course the sun, and then the moon is obviously the moon. You are literally, whenever I tell you guys to shoot the moon, you are literally shooting the big old moon right there. Okay, so that's how that works. The next one up after Mars is going to be Jupiter. Of course, Jupiter is the big circular one, even bigger than the sun from this angle. So that is the big one that is going to be orbiting around it. Okay, the next one up is Saturn. Again, these start really orbiting pretty far out from the sun. So Saturn is over there. It is the one with the rings. Okay, that's what it looks like in the game. The next one up is Uranus. Now, Uranus is the purple one, which is flying around very, very far out there. That one will be kind of hard to see, and as you can see, it is pretty darn far out from the sun. So that is Uranus. And then finally, you're gonna love this one. Neptune is floating around in the seawater. So let me see if I can actually spot it. I'm gonna speed up theater mode, and basically you can see this thing floating around the outside, and it'll periodically appear above the water where you can shoot it and it'll dive back down. So that is where all of the planets actually are. Some of them are very, very easy to spot. Some of them are a little bit harder to spot, but basically that is how all of the planets are, and that is what all of the planets look like in the sky. So now that you know everything you need to know, let's get down to the actual steps here. So, first of all, after getting all the planets into the sky by collecting the coins with the creepy voices, you activate the mobile, and that will basically set you up to go in the match. Now, basically, all of these different little orbs, all of the different little planets will light up in the order that is your order. In my game, my order is Venus, Mars, Saturn, Mercury, Jupiter, Uranus, Moon, Neptune, Sun. That is my order. So I go out on the dock, and I tell my runner, hey, I am shooting down the Venus planet. Are you in position? And he goes, yeah, I'm in position. Go ahead and shoot it. And then I go ahead and shoot my Venus planet. It falls down to the ship, and a timer starts when it starts falling. If you do not collect this planet as it is falling very, very quickly, or if you shoot the wrong planet, that is another way, you will fail the step and have to wait an entire another round and try again next round. But this is what the planet looks like when you shoot it down. And the Venus one will always fall in Millionaire Suites. So say Venus was your fourth one. You would still go to Millionaire Suites every single time whenever it is time for Venus to be shot in your order that appears on your globe. So you basically are just always going to the same spot for the same planets, but you always have to get a new order of the planets depending on what your game is and what the mobile has told you that your order is for the game. So at this point, I'm just over here on the docks waiting for my teammate to pick up the mini version of Venus. He says, hey, I've got Venus. What is the next location? I look at the list that I wrote down, and I know that it is Mars, which means that it is in the engine room on the catwalk behind. It is the exact same location as the initial coin. And as soon as he says I'm in position on the engine room on the catwalk behind it, I say, okay, I shoot it down, and he immediately goes to collect it and then tells me, hey, I've got it. What's the next location? And it's just a cycle of him asking me where he is going, and I tell him where exactly to go based on my order of what planet is next and where I know those planets fall. Every single time you shoot the planets, they fall in the exact same spot. So it's really just a cycle of doing all of it, and really all that you guys need to learn on this is, again, well, number one, how to read the planets, how to know which one is which, and number two, where all of the planets fall to whenever they actually get shot out of the sky, and that's what I'm going to be teaching you guys. So as you can see, Saturn will always spawn in this little bridge bedroom right on the other side of the captain's wheel. It will always land there, and you really don't have to worry about finding it at all in the slice. You don't have to worry about finding any of these. The only thing you have to worry about is picking it up in time, because as soon as you shoot it down, it starts a timer that will actually basically wipe your round, and you won't be able to do it on this round anymore, and you'll have to wait for the next round, which kind of sucks. But as long as you get it before the timer runs out, that's why I always wait for my runner to say, hey, I'm in position before I shoot it, because they can stay up in the sky as long as you want, but as soon as they come down, that is when the problems arise. So Mercury, as you saw right there, is always in that spot in the mail room. Saturn is always in that spot in the bridge, and Jupiter is always going to fall as soon as you shoot it down, as soon as it's Jupiter's turn to be shot down from the planetarium telling you when it was its turn. Basically, it is always going to fall into the engine room. So go ahead and grab that, and we are on to the next one. This one is Uranus. This one is a little bit hard to see sometimes because it's kind of a faint purple one, but this one will always fall into the state room bedroom every single or bedroom. Well, yeah, Uranus. No, yeah, right. It is going to fall into the bathroom every single time where we picked up that coin on the wall. It is going to fall right in between, and as soon as it gets there, you can go ahead and pick it up. As you can see, he already knew exactly where it was going to be because it lands there every time, and that is the spot that Uranus lands. Next up is Moon, and whenever you get Moon, you legitimately just shoot the Moon. It's not going to fly out of the sky or anything like that, but just shoot the Moon once. You'll see a little effect come out of it, and that is it. And then this one will land in this window on the left side of Lower Grand Stairs. Now, the next one is the tricky one. This is Neptune. This is the one that floats around in the water. It will make an entire 360s around the boat, and this one will always land at the aft decks on a little boat on the aft deck. So go ahead and make your way up. This is the one that I always get myself since it's just that close. So I run over, I grab this thing before it ends my streak, ends my round, anything like that, and we are good to go. So the last one one, the final one, is a little bit different because it is the sun. Your sequence, it could go Mercury, Saturn, Jupiter. It could go Jupiter, Mercury, Venus. It doesn't matter what the sequence is. It will always end with the sun, and it will always end with 4 players holding square, or however many players you have in your game, holding square on the spawn. So whenever you shoot it, you will all 4 have to go to the spawn. It will land right there. Everyone holds square on it, and you have officially completed this step. Congratulations, you are almost at the boss fight. So as soon as you all hold square on this orb, as soon as it comes down, you will immediately be put into the Frozen Path Challenge. Now, basically, just follow the path that I do in this video. It's very, very helpful if you have specialist weapons, especially the Scepter of Ra. For whatever reason, it actually just melts this ice in front of you. Basically, there's a bunch of ice that stops you from getting to the back of the ship, and you have to melt the ice down using bullets, using guns, using specialist weapons, everything like that. The more the better that you can shoot and get through this. This is basically a speed run because ice will slowly creep in from the corners of your screen, making you colder and colder. And if the ice completely creeps in, you will basically be teleported back to the start, and you'll have to wait until next round to hold square on that little spawn podium again in order to be able to go any farther. But honestly, the best way that we found to do it was just use Krakens, use those little Scepters of Ra, and absolutely shred everything and make your way to the back of the boat as quickly as humanly possible. And as soon as you get to the very, very back of the boat, there's going to be one final icy boy that you have to freeze off, or rather melt off, and then that will actually open up the boss fight portal, and that is the final step that you have to do before actually going to the boss fight. This is the little thing back here. Keep on shooting it, and then eventually if you get a flash, that means the boss fight portal is open, and now you are finally ready to go into the boss fight. Let's go ahead and talk about everything you need, everything you want, and everything that would be possible for the boss fight. So now that the boss fight portal is ready, all you need to do to go ahead and enter is every single player needs to go do it and hold square, and you'll be teleported into this weird little place. Swim up to the actual little artifact, and you will see another cutscene, and then the boss fight will start. But before you do this, I recommend 3 things from each player. Number 1, a fully pack-a-punched KN44 that you can actually buy off the wall, or I think it's KN54 in this game actually, but you need a fully pack-a-punched KN54, and you have that in your inventory for boss damage, and it's also a wall buy, which is extremely valuable. That's number 1. Number 2, every single player should get a homunculus. I know it's super annoying to spin the box that much just going for a basically random chance at getting a homunculus, but I absolutely think every single player should have it. You're going to hear me talking about it a lot in this boss fight strategy. And number 3 is that I think every single player, once again, needs to spin the box until you actually get a Kraken, and you need to upgrade it to the Ice Elemental Kraken. It is absolutely incredible in its ice form, and you will see why in the 3rd stage of this boss fight. So without further ado, this is the first stage of the boss fight, and whenever you get into this stage, it is very, very easy. All you need to do is basically, you don't even have to worry about the boss. The boss won't even do anything. He's just looking at you, and you just need to kill all of the boss zombies. My recommendation is just focus on the bosses, focus on everything else. Really, you don't have to pay too much attention to the normal zombies. Just make sure they don't kill you, and that's about it. But kill all of the bosses. Eventually, you'll be teleported to the next boss fight arena, and whenever that happens, you are ready to go and get on to stage number 2. Number 1, just kill everything, and then stage number 2, let's get it. So in Boss Fight Arena 2, it's essentially exactly like Boss Fight Arena 1, except a little bit more cramped. All you have to do is just kill all of the boss zombies in this. You don't have to worry about the eyeball. You don't have to worry about doing damage, anything. All you have to worry about is staying alive and killing the ads as quickly as possible. So any Blight Daddies, any Shovel Boys, anything that is not a normal zombie, make sure you're killing as soon as possible as a team, and make sure you're teaming up and communicating and getting your reses. Everything that you need to work on this map is to do as a team, and call out when you're shooting the Blight Father. Get your friends to shoot along with you, and that will be the best way to do it. So just keep on killing. Eventually you get out of stage 2, and we're on to stage 3. So Boss Fight Arena number 3 was absolute madness, because basically you have to be within basically a 1-foot radius of the zombies and all the other players and everything like that. And our overall strategy was to hide out in the laundry room, and basically for this one, you actually have to do damage to the boss. So number 1, first utmost priority is to stay alive. Now, whenever the boss is firing a big ice beam down the hallway, all you need to do damage to the boss in this arena is just go ahead and step out, just kind of shoulder peek the door, and fire into his eyeball as he's firing down the hallway. Now, really, you do have to worry about him absolutely zapping you, but as you can see, as long as you aren't fully peeking him, as long as you are just staying to the side of his ice beam, you are perfectly fine to do this, and it is absolutely incredible the kind of damage you can put down if you're working together as a team. Our strategy do is basically, as soon as he was about to fire, go ahead, throw a homunculus out the back door, and then basically everybody gets an entire free fire into his eyeball, and that was basically it. So the only other piece of advice I would have is that if you do actually get frozen, basically you have to be you have to be very, very careful to get frozen, because he can freeze you very fast. But if you do, all you have to do is just knife a few times, and as soon as you knife, you should be able to get out of the cryo freeze and just keep on playing it. So this is part of the reason why I said that the elemental kraken, the ice kraken, is just going to be so good, because you can just slow down zombies who are running for you. But keep on doing damage. Eventually, if you do enough damage with your KN, he will teleport you to the next arena, and you can keep on going with the boss fight into stage 4. So stage 4 is basically like a practice arena for stage 5, because it is essentially the same thing. The boss is going to put little freezy pads on the ground, and then he is going to do this ice beam attack, and whenever he does this ice beam, he is vulnerable. Now, there's going to be a ton of zombies spawning behind you on this little catwalk, so again, just make sure you have someone either throwing homunculus, either putting down their special weapon, or just go ahead and spam with your kraken and keep everyone else alive while they are doing DPS. There basically needs to be one kind of protector, and then everyone else just needs to do crazy damage to this boss by shooting their KN right into the forehead of this boss. As you can see, the more and more damage he actually gets, the more and more he kind of like breaks apart, if for lack of a better term. The eyeball gets more and more shattered and red and everything like that, as opposed to being just completely blue. So just keep on firing at it, keep on shooting at it, and make sure you take care of any big bosses behind you, such as Blyfathers. Don't get zapped by the laser beam, because it will one-shot you, and other than that, you just have to keep on firing into its eyeball as soon as it opens up, and just make sure you put down maximum damage as quickly as possible. So that is about it. Make sure you don't let it last too long, so you can actually you know, get the max ammo and have it be useful for the next round. Always put down as much DPS as possible, and once you do that, he will teleport you into the final arena for the last part of the boss fight. Once you get into the final boss fight arena, it basically behaves the exact same way as the last one, except there are a lot more enemies behind you, and he is a whole lot bigger, and there are 3 different stages to his fight. Basically, every single stage is the exact same. It just gets a little bit more tough with a little bit more enemies, and then the main thing that you have to watch out for, the main change, and really the only change for this final stage, is that the boss will actually warm up a wipe attack. And basically what this means is that if you don't do enough damage to him when he starts making this noise, you actually will all instantly die. So whenever you start hearing him making like just a crazy noise, shaking up in the sky, make sure you put a ton of bullets into him. Make sure you shoot him as much as possible, because if you don't, he will just basically kill you all in one shot. And that's not a joke. He will legitimately one-shot every single person on the map, and it is no bueno. So I would absolutely recommend paying a lot of attention to this, using homunculus whenever you think he is about to attack, so that everybody can get a full range of attack right into his basically laser beam face, and always be putting down as maximum damage as possible, because the longer this boss fight goes on, the more likely you are to actually die, just because you are slowly ever running out of kraken ammo, and you are slowly running out of max ammos and homunculus, and everything that you have in your inventory that's good will go away slowly until you have nothing left. And this is basically the main reason I told you guys to buy the KN44 off the wall here, because it is a wall buy in this final arena, and you can buy more ammo for at least that. Even if you don't have kraken ammo, you can at least get KN44 ammo off the wall whenever you are in this boss fight. So again, just keep shooting him in the mouth every single time he opens it up. Make sure you at least put a few bullets into it if you're not getting hit by zombies, and that is about it. Eventually, he will do his one final kind of I'm gonna kill you in one shot move. Make sure you stun him out of that, and then you will have actually beaten the boss. It is pretty darn difficult. It is a lot harder than it looks, and I recommend doing this on basically 3 people. We found to be the maximum. 4 people just got way too hectic, even with all of us having very good guns. So that's what I would recommend, is doing this Easter egg with 3 people, and just spending the extra time to get set up before you actually go into the boss fight are my kind of like big tips for this boss fight. So once you have done this, congratulations, you have beaten the Easter egg. If you would like to watch the ending cutscene, which is absolutely insane, it is on my channel. I'll link it down below in the description as well. If you guys did enjoy this tutorial, make sure, for the love of everything, this was so dang long, and I wanted to get it out for you guys. I've been up for over 42 hours at this point, but I wanted to get this tutorial out for you guys, and make sure you guys had a very good and clear, concise tutorial for you guys on day 1 of me beating this. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for coming out. I love you guys. I appreciate you guys, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye-bye.